Start that over again. Not surprising, it's kind of a routine as we kick these things off. Anyway, here we are with episode 16. OGA Athletics opening the Echo Chamber podcast. And we've got Sia Unstoppable as the entry song to kind of kick things off. We've got a modified group tonight. Some people are away. We've got Troy Scheer, Jay Beavis, and we've got a guest we'll introduce in a second. And we've got Mike Nederhoff, who's actually, I was surprised when he told us that he was heading to the States for U.S. Thanksgiving. So that's an interesting choice given the dynamics, but he's in Minnesota, I believe. And then John Murphy's on hiatus. So we've got a special guest. First time ever to have someone that's related to someone on the podcast, but Barb Beavis. And before we get into it, Barb, why did you pick Unstoppable from Sia as a song?
Well, because you asked me for a song and I had no idea what kind of song describes me. So I reached out to my friend Kaylin, and who's Troy's wife.
Yes.
She's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And she gave me a suggestion that I was like, oh, that's pretty good. But then it made me think of Unstoppable by Sia, which I've also, it reminded me of it's a superhero movie. Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
Who's the actress again?
Gal
Gadot.
Oh,
They use this song
for the video.
That's why. Okay.
For her, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Right.
In the movie when she's doing some crazy fight scene.
That.
Nice.
Yeah. No. I mean, like, in just the language, and I mean, I remember when the song came out, and it kind of, I think, meant a lot to her when she made the song. But I mean, that's.
Well, I think the song came out for the movie, didn't it?
It
might have.
Very well could have been. Yeah. I mean, the last time we went down the movie thing in the last episode. we were on the right song, but and then I also checked that.
Yeah, it was the wrong movie.
But I think this one we got the right song, right movie. So, it's kind of a neat segue because when I got your background sent through, I looked at it and I thought, holy cow, there's a lot here. Some of it's overlapped with some of the previous guests. But part of it is the relationship that the two of you have, and it'll be interesting to hear some stuff of how it works as a couple. But more importantly, it's just you've got athletic activities that have kind of been with you for a long time, and then you've taken a bit of a change to how you approach them, from what I understand. Mm-hmm. That you're now sitting with a very broad, but holistic approach to health and fitness, which is a little different than how you started. So I mean, I'm super keen to hear all that. And then also I know, talking to some of the guys that are part of the community that have partners, it just seems like from the female perspective, there's like a real opportunity to share expertise that someone like you has or experience. Because it seems to me that like women and young women today, like young guard women that are coming up, and we've talked about some that are at your club, right? I don't know where the role models are. Like as a guy, I've always kind of maybe identified. So I've kind of thought that women that can't turn it off, young, middle, and older, I don't know if there's a lot of role models for them to look to and to talk to about this kind of information. So I think that's kind of cool, because I know that there's women that listen to this from the different generations that are like trying to seek out information, like we talked about before we got on here, that you've listened to the one with Allison Montgomery and Sarah Robbins. And so anyway, I think that's also a cool thing, is just for what you have to share. So, I don't know, maybe I'm going to twist it around here a little bit, because Troy knows you as well. I know you through this connection. So I'm interested to hear, Troy, how you kind of want to take this. But I guess my first question is, you have a perspective that, you when I've talked to you, you really, really understand what you are passionate about in terms of health and fitness. How would you describe when you started to where you are now, how much that's changed?
Oh, it's night and day.
Great question.
It's night and day.
Is it? Like,
Oh yeah, like when did I start this? Like I was probably 20.
Yeah, so this is the decades part.
Yeah, so it was probably 20, and it started with a guy. I was dating a guy who went to the gym and did all the things, and I'd never done that. I didn't play sports in high school. That's not my background.
Sorry, just so...
It wasn't you?
It wasn't me, but I just want for the viewers to know when we talk about age in sport on this. You're not supposed to ask a woman's age, and I don't know if my wife
I don't
wants to
care.
tell you. Okay,
No.
so why don't you tell people your age so that...
Well, I'm 48.
Yeah, you'll be
I'm
49 in
48.
March.
Yeah.
Just so people know.
My
that-
birthday's not in March, babe.
Or May, sorry. My birthday's in March.
Holy, we got marital issues now.
So no, I just want people to know that. So just about 30 years.
Okay, so 30 years ago.
30,000 hours. That's what we.
Okay.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Okay, so I started going to California Fitness. You remember that place?
In Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, on First Avenue. And I remember the first day I ever did anything, and I paid. No, the first time I ever went to the gym was Pegasus. Do you remember that place?
Yeah, on just off of.
It was
Taylor.
on Pacific. No, it was
Pacific,
in the
yeah,
Rumley
Pacific,
building.
Yeah, that's right.
Pacific building.
That was the first time I ever went to the gym
Yeah.
with my friend Julie, because she worked out, and
Okay.
I went to the gym with her and didn't know what I was doing and couldn't walk for like a week after that. I was
We all went through
unbelievably
that,
sore.
right?
Yeah, that was stupid. And then I didn't touch
First
the
day's
gym
leg
again.
day.
Yeah. I didn't touch the gym again until the California Fitness episode with my boyfriend, and then said goodbye to that guy and started dating another guy who owned a gym, and that was ProFit, which is now Fitness Focus.
Okay.
And that's when I got bit by the bug, because I was hanging out with bodybuilders and living the bodybuilder lifestyle, and I just loved it. Like, we went to it was mostly social.
Okay.
We'd probably be in the gym for 2-3 hours. And I was working in a law office at the time, so I'd go to work from like 8 to 5 and go to the gym from 5 to 8.
Yeah.
And then I worked in the bar all night. I was bartending. But the gym experience was my first, I guess, experience with the gym, was hanging out with the bodybuilders and doing what they did. So it didn't start out, I wasn't a cardio queen. That's not how I started in this journey. It was lifting weights and pushing. I think I remember when I was at ProFit, I was leg pressing like 275 or something.
So what's interesting, right? Because I don't want to interrupt this, but I think there's a lot of science that's now out saying what you knew back then and what you were experiencing, which is particular for females, like pure weight training is...
That's all we did, yeah.
How many other girls were in ProFit that would have been comparable to where you were at lifting?
I don't know.
Not many.
Like, in my group, in my circle of people that I was hanging out with, I was the only girl.
Yeah.
But in general, in the gym, did you cross other women that were lifting heavy?
No.
Yeah.
Like, it was.
They were in
not-
the cardio machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the beginning. I mean, when we talk about previous guest Alison Montgomery, we talked about her journey starting in the 80s, and yours, when doing the math on this, is the...
Like 99, 2000.
Yeah, which is still early for women to
there
be
wasn't a
on,
lot
right?
going on.
So you got results, obviously?
Well, I didn't know it at the time, but I was really strong. Yeah.
Okay.
But I just was like, I don't know, I'll put some plates on this machine and see if I could do it. There was no goal. I just did it. You just did it.
Because that's the point, right?
I know. I cannot tell you any tracking. I never wrote shit down. I just did it.
Yeah.
And then when you got on the leg press and you could do whatever you put on it, and then you were like, oh, I'll try some more, and then you slap some more plates on it and you just do it.
And so then, in a way, right, you're learning or following kind of guy routines.
Oh yeah.
Which
And
is
nutrition, right?
No, I wouldn't say that, because at that time I was working in the bar.
Oh, right,
And
right.
they were all my customers, and nutrition wasn't a thing then.
Okay.
Not yet, anyway.
So
Because I hadn't competed yet, I was just working out.
Yeah.
And I was bartending in the nightclub at night, so the gym was fun and everything, and I was getting strong and building a lot of muscle, but then I was eating shit and drinking, and
Yeah.
it wasn't conducive of the lifestyle, but
It was conducive of the
didn't-
lifestyle of that genre, though.
At that time.
especially
Yeah.
like if you're thinking
That was
of
the baggy pants era.
That was
Yeah,
100.
that was-
But I can tell you.
FC Hammer pants with the
Oh yeah, the
small
workout.
string
Yeah, that was
guys.
my friend Richie.
I
He
remember
had the
even at
hammer
our
pants
breaks
in the
that
gym.
when Pat would bring all like, and there'd be just like the muscle
Yeah.
beach stuff, and I was just like, oh, I got, and then I'd be like 130 pounds wet and wearing that stuff, and I'm like, this doesn't really look right.
Oh yeah, that's totally. Yeah.
So
So you know, that period was the same for guys too. I mean, nutrition wasn't really like because I was in that era a little bit earlier, but the same thing. We were just lifting and not really thinking about nutrition. We actually didn't really, and there weren't even supplements.
there wasn't good supplements.
That
The
market-
protein?
No.
It was
Protein powders had to be blended. There was no shaker cups.
Protein powders were chalk shit.
Yeah.
And everyone was taking ephedrine. Like that was
Yeah,
That was-
the ECA
that was the
stuff.
name of the game. Yeah.
So for those that don't know, explain what that is, or what
Ephedrine?
What the purpose of taking
Well,
it.
I think hydroxycut was the
Yeah, muscle
popular
tech.
one at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
time. Yeah, and it was just I think everyone was just taking it for energy.
Well, it's a
Fat burning,
bronchodilator.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a
But
bronchodilator for. It's in all.
It's a
all-
bronchodilator. It's
yeah.
not a fat burner. So I think after the trend died off, we found out that it was the efficacy of the supplement wasn't there. It was the mindset that you were taking a supplement, so you did the things. It wasn't the supplement that got you the results at the end of the day.
I think when
You didn't want to waste the supplement, so you did the exercise and you cleaned up your diet and da-da-da. And those were the things that made the changes, not necessarily the supplement. It was the attitude that you had because you were taking the supplement.
Yeah.
I found ephedrine to be a slight appetite suppressant because it was speedy.
Well, I think it was like when you look at
Not
it,
to derail
it's
the
the when you take ephedrine, caffeine, and
the
aspirin, it's the precursor to meth.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Is what
Yeah.
is basically what it is when they're combined.
So
and it's the
that stuff was
synergy
popular at the
of
time, but I wasn't doing that. Like
Yeah.
I didn't care.
But that's what it was. So it gave you that little bit of that buzz because it was, if you remember the product, like people from that era would remember a thing called Ultimate Orange, and it came out. And
Agent
it was,
Oh
Orange.
yeah.
Was it Agent
Yeah.
Orange? And it was just like a pre-workout. And if you took it, sometimes if you took too much, you literally would be just like nauseous or whatever because it was such a rush.
Yeah.
And it was like, but you could only get it in certain places, and then they pulled it all off
Yeah.
the
It
shelves
was way too strong.
because it originally had ephedrine on the thing, and they
When
said
the original
that was not regular.
hydroxycut did too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
The
then
original
Original,
formula. Yeah.
No.
Then they
whatever.
pulled it, and then they put the traditional Chinese name of Mao Yang
Yes.
on there.
Oh, yeah,
And then
I
that way they
remember
were
that,
able to
yeah.
bring it back to the market.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as potent. Like the next time you
didn't
tried
Yeah.
it,
wish
it
it
was
was
like,
yeah.
you were like,
That's right.
okay, I
Yeah.
can kind of survive this. I remember that was a nightmare, but like once again.
Did you try it at all, or you just it was?
No, but I remember when that second version of it came out.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Mao Yang.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
could still get the ephedra stuff. They had it behind the counter.
Yeah.
So this gym doesn't exist anymore, so I can talk about it. But they had it behind the counter, and you could, if you knew somebody, you could get it.
Yeah.
But this is so for those that don't know, that's why this is really part of old guard athletics in the different stages, right? Because you're kind of like this middle guard, 30,000 hours. Your perspective is
How many hours is an old guard?
40,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you're not there yet.
Keep your chin up.
Yeah. But what's cool is you're talking about a point in time where today younger people and even like young guards or middle guards, they see supplements and they go into a store and everything's there. You're talking literally about, oh yeah,
One
this
thing.
this guy's got this behind the
Can you get me the original?
Yeah.
Hey
Yeah.
buddy, in
You
my
got
pocket,
the original
right?
hydroxycut?
Yeah, when you go
Yeah.
into a store now, it's super overwhelming. There's so much stuff.
And
And
the majority of it probably
Is
doesn't work.
garbage, yeah.
It's just
I know
Part of
I
the
agree.
fun I'm having in the conversation about hydroxycut, and I know sometimes it feels like we derail from
I
the
haven't
story.
said that
but-
name in a
but
long
it, but
time.
it's this is the culture. Like it was part of the culture of lifting in the
Yeah.
90s. Like that was just one of the things. And we talked about the hammer pants and going in the gym, and then no one gave a shit what you ate. Like no one was eating, like my training partner would eat like a cold baked potato with nothing on it and tinfoil. Like no one was really doing that until later on. When I got later into it, when like Greg Johnson was competing and stuff, I'm just like, man, that is the worst. But we'd all go drink and eat and whatever, and then go lift hard, and then party hard and lift hard and stuff. And then nutrition comes on later. Like probably a lot of the young guards.
Oh yeah, so you had said something earlier, and I was going to say something, and then we got off on a tangent. But no one was really looking after their nutrition health so much as the gym, the supplements. But I think I can say with confidence that I didn't go down this like path where, yeah, I worked in the bar and we were drinking and probably eating shit at 2:00 in the morning. But because I was in the gym every day, it didn't show on me like it did on some people. Because I worked with some people who it did show after a few years of that hard life because they didn't take care of their bodies. And I wasn't on purpose taking care of my body. I just was. And I think that was my saving grace for sure.
That makes sense.
So I think that...
Because I worked out every day. I ate shit and I drank, but I was working out every day.
But also genetics, though, too, right?
Well...
Because there's a lot of times you might have good genetics in the sense, like, there's some people that they can eat a little bit off track, or some people, like, I know when I was younger, I could try to eat as much as I wanted, and I couldn't put weight on if my life depended on it. And I remember my mom, because she could tell, she was like, oh, I got some of this stuff for you. And she brought home, like, the Weight gainer. Weight gainer. She goes, oh, they had, like, my friend had
one
some
scoop.
of this. It was just, like,
measuring.
And I was like, yeah, because I want to play football, so I got to start putting on weight. So I one summer, I think I ate, and then I found out the trick was not doing anything. Like, you worked out, and then you just slept lots and ate
no
lots
cardio.
of meat.
Exactly.
Football season come around, my first thing, I think we ran around however many times, and I dropped 30 pounds after like 2 weeks of running with all your pads on, right? Like, it's just, you don't know. Like,
but that's what it was, right? At that time, everyone was like literally on their own little journey because there was no Instagram, there was no internet to connect like how this is supposed to be. And so you had friends or people that social that you talk to about it.
One more thought on the nostalgia of it before we get back into Barb's thing, but the magazines.
So the magazine, just while you guys were talking about Hydroxycut, I just remember her name was Brandy, and she was the ad in Oxygen magazine for Hydroxycut. I remember her because she was the Hydroxycut model. I bought Oxygen magazine every month.
So we still have them out at the Acres.
I have.
So here's a funny story. The pictures that you sent through, some of that we took and posted, you have a picture with a lady that I was quite enamored
Monica
with.
Brandt.
Exactly.
I met her.
Yeah, so I'm like, holy mackerel, this was the lady that, she's a little bit older, but I'm like, that lady was, in terms of...
That was at the Arnold Classic.
And so what year was that?
And 2 seconds before I met her, I have a picture with Lou Ferrigno.
Yes, I saw it.
Did I send that one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the Monica Brandt one caught my attention because she was one of the pioneers also coming up in the fitness level.
And so was the guy that owned Oxygen magazine, I think it was Jon something. He died and his wife took over. And I can't think of her name right now, but I met her at that event too. Okay,
because Oxygen also, I think, was a Canadian magazine originally.
Yeah.
So it was, actually there were... not to go down the rabbit hole, but the magazines were Flex, Muscle and Fitness, and obviously those were connected with Weider, but on the Canadian side, Oxygen came later, but the one that was the first one was Robert Kennedy's
Robert Kennedy's wife. It's not John, it's Robert.
That's
his wife took it over, and I met her at that event. That's how it started.
But Robert Kennedy was a Canadian.
Yeah.
So, Canada had a lot of role in the whole thing. So, if you think of that period, that's how you got started, and then obviously we know where you are today, but so just weave us from there to the next step change for you then.
From the bodybuilder life?
Well, yeah,
your fitness journey.
Yeah, not only you, but you were working out.
Okay, so I was working out.
And you competed, right?
Well, then some of my friends started asking me to help them in the gym. And that's how I ended up becoming a personal trainer. Because I was helping my friends in the gym anyway, and I was like, why don't I get paid for this? So I got certified.
Okay.
And then I was charging for it. Helping people in the gym, I was charging for it. So that was in 2001. So I think I was only, like I said, I was hanging out with the bodybuilders in 99, 2000. By 2001, I was certified.
Okay.
For personal training. And in 2007, I opened my own facility, fitness facility. And that same year, I got my nutrition certification. And then
Was that a private facility or?
Yeah, it was a women's only gym in Avalon, the Avalon Shopping Center
wow, okay.
on Broadway.
Yeah.
It was in there. I
Just
had that
in the
for
corner
4
over there
years.
by where somewhere else is.
Yeah, in
No.
the same little.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you want to say what it was called?
I think there's Flex Appeal Fitness. I've been Flex Appeal in different ways for 25 years. Like I was Flex Appeal Personal Training and Flex Appeal Women's Fitness and Flex Appeal Fitness and Flex Appeal Functional Nutrition. And Flex Appeal has evolved a lot of ways.
So at that time, again, for those that are listening and don't know Saskatoon, so that was 2007 you opened up the women's?
Yeah.
So how many other women-only private gyms were there at that
So
time?
that was at the tail end of Curves.
Oh yeah, Curves was something.
Curves
Yeah, Curves
was a
was a
super
chain, right?
popular
Yeah.
chain. And so
But not the weight training style that
no,
you're
but
talking
Curves
Was Curves a circuit?
yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
they
Like
were
they had,
the
like,
machines were
spring-
hydraulic.
the
No, they were hydraulics.
machines, That's right, yeah.
So at the tail end of Curves, like Curves started disappearing by the time I opened. And so I had the hydraulic circuit, but I also had a Lady Apex line, which was selectorize,
Yeah.
like the weight plate.
Did you have free weights?
And free weights.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And I had a cable system too. So I was the only ladies gym that wasn't just hydraulics. I had actual gym equipment in there. There used to be a ladies gym right beside Mano's on Broadway.
Yep.
I can't remember what it's called, but they were unique in that way. But they were ahead of their time, I think, because that gym had weights and all the things before Curves came to town. And then when Curves came to town, everybody was all about that because it was a circuit hydraulics. Easy to do.
Yeah.
And then I came in and I had the hydraulics and the weights. So I was a little bit of both.
And Curves was a chain too, wasn't it?
It was a
It
franchise.
was like a
yeah.
franchise.
Yeah.
And that was probably part of the mystique because everyone's
Yeah.
like, oh, I heard about this. And it just,
Well,
you know,
yeah.
anybody that's
Like, I bought
independent
that
always has to
equipment
work
from a
that much
gym that
harder,
closed.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
The hydraulic stuff.
Oh wow.
And then I got the Lady Apex line just from a friend who sold gym equipment. And then I had that gym for 4 years. And
Were you just, because you're the first person that we've had, aside from, Troy, you own your own facility too, but not as specific as this. So you're the first fitness owner, of a facility owner we've had on. Those 4 years, did you have someone else or was it just you?
just me.
Okay.
Like employees, you
Yeah.
mean? Oh, yeah. I had somebody that opened at 5 a.m.
But were they
Remember?
trainers?
No,
They
I
were
was the
just
only
clerks.
trainer.
The only trainer. So you basically, every customer that was in there, client, you were...
Well, so I was trying to sell gym memberships and personal training, but personal training was my passion. So then when I became a business owner, the personal training kind of went on the back burner because I was trying to run this gym.
Yeah, well, this is the why I'm asking, because it's not
So
easy.
in the end, I think that was a mistake because I was like, oh, I'm going to own my own gym. This will be so amazing. And then I wasn't doing what my passion was, and that sucked.
You're right.
Yeah.
But this is a real question. A lot of people that listen to this and are part of this whole lifetime of athletic pursuit, you have to ask yourself, because I've thought the same thing. I love these certain athletic activities, but do I want to make it a business?
Oh, yeah, no.
And
That's not for everybody.
Not for everybody, and it's
Yeah,
kind of
I think
interesting.
it
Right?
takes a unique mix, or you have to have the right support. Like for
Right,
me,
yeah.
the only reason why I probably still enjoy and super passionate about it, I have a great support staff, a great support group that allows me to still kind of focus on what I'm good at and what I enjoy. Whereas if
So
you
this is
didn't
a
have-
shout out to all those people.
Oh
at
yeah,
Scheer's,
like
right?
oh yeah, absolutely. Like initially, that would have been say my mom, who ran the school for my dad and me later on, and then now is Anita, who has taken over that position, and you know what I mean. So she kind of isolates and focuses on that one area, which
Operations,
alleviates
basically.
and allows me to focus, because otherwise you're babysitting, you're trying to put up fires and you're trying to do all that stuff, and then a lot of times I think it affects your own kind of personality and how you interact sometimes with your clients, which you maybe have found too, like when you were trying to do it all.
when I was running the business, I wasn't selling personal training because I was
Yeah.
too busy running the business. So then I completely got away from what my passion was. Like I opened the gym because I wanted to have my own place to train people.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't training people.
How much were you able to train yourself when you were doing it? Was that fall on the back burner too?
Well, I couldn't train in my own gym because I would get interrupted.
Yeah.
So I
Oh, wow.
trained at
So
another
that's-
gym. I didn't even work out in my own gym.
Yeah, see, there you go.
But so you guys heard that? Like she went to another gym.
That's
I went to another
crazy.
gym, yeah.
And I did.
Mecca Fitness was open at the time. That's where I trained. And I owned my own gym.
I don't think that's uncommon. That
Because also I was spending so many hours there, I didn't want to be there more.
Yeah.
did you
So I'd go somewhere else to train.
Well, for me, I do that. I do it just to keep fresh or keep motivated. Like, so often I'll have, like, because I have students that they own Rise, strength bar here in the city.
Yeah.
And then Ironworks. So lots of times
Yeah, we were
I'll
talking
kind of say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to take a little stint, and a couple times a week I'll go to Ironworks, or a couple times a week I'll go to Rise, and just to get me out of
Yeah.
my space.
Yeah.
Because then I'm there and I'm anonymous pretty much, and I
Yeah.
can just go and do what I want to do. And then because at my
Yes,
own
like, good
gym, if
conversation.
I'm there, like if I go there, say on a Saturday, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna go and do a workout by myself or go do something, it's like, no, there's people
At the school?
constantly-
Yeah, no.
people are constantly coming up, and,
Yeah.
and it's not that it's a negative thing. They just they want to ask you a question or
Yeah.
this or that. So the only advantage I find is, obviously, there's days when I know where there's nobody there, so those are the days I usually go, and I'll just go in there, and I know I'm the only one in there, so I'm just going to do my own thing, so it doesn't matter, right? But it definitely
You
can
need a
be-
break.
Yeah, it's good to get just a change of environment sometimes, and just have a little. Now, granted, that's just for strength training. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't, for myself, for martial arts training. It's not like I'm going to go and train at another club to do
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, the gossip, the scandal.
no,
If you went to another martial arts school.
I would be disappointed.
Well, I mean, you talk like disappointed because that's your craft. So that was your craft, which was personal training. You know, passionate about training. You were getting away from it. So then, 4 years. So obviously, it was successful.
It was okay.
Okay, but so
Yeah.
then what? Yeah. So then after
And
4
then
years.
World Gym came to town.
Okay.
And they opened a location in Stonebridge. And that killed me. Because they had classes. Ladies want classes. So I didn't renew my lease. That was the end of Flex Appeal Women's Fitness.
So,
And
so just
the,
on this,
the saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. So then I worked at World Gym.
So let's go through this because, excuse me, this is again part of the difference maybe, at least in that activity of fitness for women. You said women at that time perhaps enjoyed classes, so they weren't even lifting weights in classes, right? It was circuits or aerobics or something like that.
Yeah.
So again, when you think back to it, you were doing something that, as a trend, kind of got changed, like from a female perspective. You were doing some weight training, but then these classes and the circuits and all that kicked in. But then you look back and you go, well, what you were doing is actually really popular today. Like this is a sweet spot in a way, right? For women today is
I
fitness.
often wonder if Flex Appeal existed today.
That's what
membership
I
looked like.
almost wonder, is you were ahead of the curve, and
Maybe.
then right, you kind of got swamped by just women getting into fitness because there weren't a lot back then, right?
Yeah.
So they're always looking for the easier, and not in a negative way, but like the courses and the circuits and
Yeah.
the thing, you go and just mindlessly do it, whereas yours probably required a bit of thought. So that was the 4 years, and like you said, you decided to shift and go into Worlds. When you went into Worlds, you had a nutrition and a personal training certification.
Yeah.
So the nutrition piece now, after 4 years doing it on your own and then going to Worlds, how many women, or I guess the other way is, how did you start to bring the nutrition? Like, were women receptive of listening to nutrition from you? Did they really think it was necessary, or still?
No, because I had my certification, but I wasn't using it. Because, truth be told, I hated it. Like, my training clients needed help with nutrition, but the information that I had at the time and whatever the trends were at the time wasn't helping anybody. And so then I hated it. Like, it sounds funny for me to say right now because of what I do now and I love, but at that time I hated it. I didn't want to talk about nutrition with people. I didn't want to write meal plans. I didn't want to do any of it because none of it worked. Nobody listened. Nobody did the thing. But diet culture it still is huge. Diet culture has just ruined people's attitudes about what to eat, how to eat. Like, there's too much information. It's overwhelming and it confuses people. And I feel like I contributed to that confusion because eating clean was the trend at the time. Well, what does that even mean? What does that mean?
A big chunk of it too was everything was very generic.
Yes.
And that was the thing that you were, because I know obviously when you looked at fitness and diet and nutrition programs, even for fighters, when you'd go through all this stuff and you'd be like, okay, well, here's a blanket diet and nutrition program that you're going to go on as you prepare for your fight. But it's not, everyone is so specific. But
that's
an individual, and
my nutrition certification taught us that. Like, we were taught to give basically a blanket meal plan. I mean, it was tailored a little bit, but you started with the template and then tweaked it from there.
Yeah.
And it was all clean eating because that was the healthy trend. Even Oxygen magazine was printing this stuff. No one was really talking specific, fat, fiber, protein. It was. And they didn't call it macros back then, but you just focused on how much protein, how much carbs, how much fat. Yeah. And fat was a sin. Like, that was a bad word because even then, I still feel like that was recently, but even then, fat made you fat, and that's what people believed.
Late 90s, I was all no fat everything.
Well, and so the meal plans that I was writing for people were salad and chicken. Who wants to eat that?
Yeah.
It's not healthy, and no one wants to eat that.
broccoli, rice, and chicken.
Yeah, so it got to the point where I didn't want to deal with it anymore, so I quit doing nutrition altogether, and I only was doing personal training.
Were you also up against the time period with Weight Watchers?
I think that was probably 80s, but it's still around.
Yeah, but that the Weight Watchers approach to how they thought of nutrition.
Actually, no. Weight Watchers is like 50s or 60s, I think.
Well, no. What I'm thinking of is when Oprah grabbed it, and when she.
Oprah did Weight Watchers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She lost
a lot of weight. Weight Watchers, yeah, of course, yeah.
And then it was same with who's the Christy Brinkley? Is that her name?
Yeah.
She also was So she got really heavy for a while, and then then all of a sudden her resurgence into the limelight was doing the commercials for them, selling their programs.
And I think it was roughly that time. I guess the reason I'm asking is because I think that was a version of accepted nutrition. So,
yes, only because of their marketing.
No, I'm not saying good.
The people that I worked with, probably most of them had done Weight Watchers at one time and knew that it didn't work, which was why they came to me.
Right.
And I was probably the 10th person that they were asking.
I mean, Oprah, all these women went through that rebound phase, right? It would work and then bing,
Well, I think that happens with almost anybody. I think any nutrition program that you go on to, once you get success, you feel like you've mastered it.
I've made it.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Oh, I can get away and I can eat this.
Because
I know I had my, I'm notorious
because those programs aren't teaching you a lifestyle
eating.
change. They're just, it's a rigid program, like a protocol. And even today when a client tells me that they've done Weight Watchers, all I say is Weight Watchers teaches you how to do math. Because their whole shtick is points. It's a point system. So Weight Watchers teaches you how to do math. That's it.
So like these are, I mean, it's multiple conversations to get into the details, but it just shows that we haven't even got to where you are even close today yet, and you've just gone into World's Gym, which was a big chain at that time, which now is basically non-existent.
And I was there for the transition to motion fitness.
Okay, so, but again, like just because we in a way have all lived this, it's quite second nature to us. But even just look at World's Gym. For those that don't know, as a side note, World's Gym came from Joe Gold, who was the founder of Gold's Gym. And when he sold the name and he went onto the ocean for a couple of years to go back into as a seafaring guy, he sold the name to the guys that took Gold's Gym over, and then Pumping Iron arrived, and he didn't get the name back. So down the street in Santa Monica, he opened up Worlds. That's how Worlds Gym started. So he convinced Arnold and all those guys to come over and train there. And so Worlds was actually quite big when it was in the 80s and 90s.
I vaguely know that story, yeah.
But even by the time it arrived here, it was on the tail. Like, it had already kind of crested. It wasn't this big. But for those that don't know, that's how big that brand was around the world. That at one point Worlds was as good as Gold's. So you go into Worlds because they're looking for trainers and experienced trainers. Mm-hmm. And so I guess the question is, when you went in there, how many women had the experience that you did at that stage? I bet you not many.
Oh, I don't think so.
Right?
Like, I'm trying to think back to the other girls that I worked with. Like, not just the members in the gym, but I think Stephanie was the only one.
The stage for anyone.
Well, that had competed. I think she had done a show. But this just came to me. That was frowned upon. The owners didn't want the staff doing that.
What?
Competing. Because they didn't want us bringing in that culture. I think because the experience was with some meatheads who are assholes in the gym. So we were, like, when I competed, I had to keep it a secret.
She hit her trainer in the gym.
So you competed at Worlds and had to keep it a secret?
It was World Gym. No, it was already transitioned to Motion.
But still.
But they didn't want that culture of people there. So I think a lot of the people who were competing probably trained at places like Ironworks.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of bodybuilders at Motion Fitness.
But that was the big misconception, because I think women were drawn to doing more, like you were saying, the hydraulic stuff and the fitness classes and the aerobics.
The
and
classes
stuff like that,
were busy there for
because
sure.
they were fearful of lifting up weights. Well, if I lift weights, I'm going to get big.
Well,
no, you're not.
That's only part of it.
That's a lot of work, but that's
only part of it. Girls are not pieces of meat in the gym, and that's how they were treated. That's why the girls didn't hang out on the main floor. They were upstairs in the classes.
At that time.
Because of the pricks in the gym. Yeah. Well, yes. That was because at that time that gym was super popular and everybody went there and it was the place to be. But it was kind of a meat market and girls knew this. So they didn't hang out. I call it the main floor because upstairs was all the cardio and the classes. The main floor is where the heavy weights were. And you didn't see a lot of girls there because they didn't want to be ogled and that shit.
It's a crazy story.
So there was a personal training studio there, and my female clients wanted to train in there. We didn't train on the main floor. I only did that with the guys.
So I'm kind of at a loss here.
Well, because you're a man, you don't know these things.
There's no Nelson.
On Nelson, well, it's not there anymore.
There's a liquor store in the lot on Nelson Road there, like behind the soccer center.
Yeah, I'm total oblivious to where it was. What was the gym that opened up and then they got everyone's memberships here in the city and then they disappeared?
Well,
and they used to be down on the west end of the city.
Yeah, so then Gold's.
Was it Gold's?
Yeah, I was one of those guys.
Yeah,
I never knew what Gold's came to Saskatoon.
Yeah.
Before
They
Worlds.
opened up because they leased all their equipment and
in the 80s.
got all these big promotions going, got everyone dumping their money in for their memberships, and then suddenly the guys disappeared.
Yeah. So it happened to me twice. Was
that in the old Mecca building?
No, so this is by Holiday Park Golf Course.
Yes.
That's it. So,
yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, so it was a big facility, racquetball courts and everything.
That's right.
And so when we went in there, we'll go down this rabbit hole for those that are locals. At that time, the gyms were Gold's had arrived, but prior to that, it was 29 Palms on 8th Street, tucked in the corner. There was Ironworks, which was down on Broadway, and then California Fitness. Basically, those three were the main gyms. Then Gold's arrives over by Holiday Park Golf Course, and it's the biggest thing possible. We go there, and they've got the outfits and all that kind of stuff. Like, oh, this is big time. But then we start to sense of how they sell these memberships.
Yeah,
it's like upfront, one payment. We're like, oh, this might not work out very well. So they were selling lifetime memberships for a couple $100. We're like, well, if it lasts for a year and a half, we got our money out. And that's exactly what happened. We made it about a year and a half. One night they came there and the doors were locked and they cleaned it all out. So then from Gold's, everybody rolled over to Fino Grosso, who was a local guy, because he'd opened New Body. And New Body is out by the airport there.
Well, he had Fitness Quest.
Yeah, so then I can't remember if Fitness Quest It was before or after, but New Body was by Travelodge. Or sorry, not Travelodge, Saskatoon Inn, on the corner of that street in there. So that was a big gym. It took everybody from Golds. And then the same thing happened with New Body after a couple of years. One day we came there, it was closed. And then everybody piled into Ironworks.
Yeah.
And then because Ironworks was in Broadway across from you guys, it got overwhelmed, I think, in one way, size-wise, which then led Ironworks to shift to the spot that he's in now, which is bigger.
But originally, even Ironworks wasn't even there.
No, it was
Because
another.
I remember going with my dad when I was younger to go visit Pat, and Pat had another partner at that time.
That's right.
And they were down kind of by, I want to say, kind of in the commercial area back where the bus depot the old bus depot used to be down on there, on one of those little, and it was like, from what I remember, it was just kind of like a main floor and then a basement. But I could be totally wrong.
No,
I was so young at that time. But I remember going there with my dad, and my dad would be like, "Oh, we're gonna go visit my buddy Pat, and we're gonna go," and we'd go there, and I just kind of sat there and listened to them all shoot the shit and talk all the time. But I can't remember exactly where the location was.
But that's what. So that was back basically 70s, 80s in Saskatoon, private gyms. Then these brands came in, Golds, Worlds came in, but back to the point of you going in there. I mean, the number of women that were certified and like proper trainers, it wasn't many. Then you go in there, and then your clientele is also treated in a way quite different than the guy clientele, right? So I'm trying.
Yeah, you didn't see, like, the girls would use the machines, but not the free weights.
Yeah. So it's still
like all the hammer strength stuff and the free weights was in one section, and then the machines were like separate from that, and the machines were busy with families and girls. But the free weights and the hammer strength stuff was no.
And this is in the late 2000s, right?
Well, this was 2010s now.
2010s.
Yeah.
So 2010s, the women still, like when I say the women, the women athletes and people trying to get healthy, still were not feeling comfortable to be equals in fitness centers, right? Like, because you look at it today, I mean, it's just 100%. Women any age rolls in, it's like at your place. I mean, geez, there's just no differentiation, and it would be actually inappropriate to carve off and keep them only there, right? So you were at that transition phase where these women were wanting to get active, but they're still kind of isolated. So
well, and I think when I started there, upstairs was the classes, the cardio, and I think there was a ladies only section up there.
Yeah, for sure.
But eventually that disappeared.
Every gym had a ladies only. California Fitness had one. They all did. So for you, you were trying to compete. So just talk about that. Why did you even compete? Because that's another level of training. Like,
well, because I said I would never do it. I was never going to put myself through that. Because I watched so many people diet and like get sick, and some of them, like, it wasn't a good time, and I said I would never do it. And then are we telling truths here?
Yeah, I think so.
I broke up with my boyfriend of 11 years, and I needed a distraction, and that was it. So we split up in November, and I was like, okay, there's a show coming up in April. I'm gonna have to start training in January, and that was my distraction from not going into a hole and being depressed about things.
I don't think that's
a pretty common trend, though, right?
For yourself.
I think usually you see people you hadn't seen this sometime. The last time you saw them, they were maybe looking a little rough or not taking care of themselves, and the next time you see them, suddenly it's like, wow, you lost like 30 pounds. What happened to you?
No.
You look good.
No.
Oh, I know lots of people.
Well, some, but then there's some, a couple breaks up and they both hit the gym and start taking care of themselves because they want to make the other one jealous.
Well, that's what I mean,
but
then suddenly they've reinvented themselves and just started taking care of themselves, which they forgot to do maybe in that relationship.
So, but the rest of that story goes, it started that I needed a distraction. And I said I would never compete. That wasn't me. I'd like to be in the world, but I was never going to do it. And then I started dieting and training for this show that was coming up in April.
Local show?
Well, it was in Regina. But Saba. It was Saba.
Yeah.
And I was going through the paces, never intending to ever hit the stage. I wanted to do it, and I wanted to get ready for it, but I was not going to get on the stage. I just wanted to see if I could. because it's hard. It's really hard.
Okay, very hard.
I never had, from the day one, I never had intentions of getting on the stage. But as the time went on, and I was like, holy shit, like, this is not too bad, and I look pretty good, and maybe I will. So then, like, I think I was one of the last people to register. Like, they have a deadline to register for the event, and I think I waited till the last minute.
God, I think that's when I met you. Was that time? Because was that the show that you helped with?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So that would have been...
So when I met you, I was training, but I wasn't committed yet.
Yeah. But I mean, it was kind of at that time
Yeah.
that you guys started kind
That's
of...
what we were hanging out at that
That
time.
was
Yeah.
at the beginning of
so
2012.
that's when you guys
We got,
connected?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we can spare just its whole story
yeah.
too, but we got together right around that time. When
Okay, so you were there for the preparation?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, there you go.
I helped her do some of the lifting, and
So I had Orlando Ham was helping me with my diet, and I wasn't ever his client because I wasn't going to compete. If that makes any sense. So I wasn't part of the agile team at the end of it, which I mean I totally regrets now because when we all get there and he's got his team and they're all wearing their matching everything and I didn't have that because I was like, where's my shit? And he's like, you said you weren't going to compete, like you're not part of the team. And I was like, oh yeah. And that was totally my fault. Like I said I didn't want to, and I kept it a secret. I didn't tell anybody that I was training for it or that I was thinking about competing or anything. And I remember a
the
girlfriend
original
of mine.
pump cover.
It was actually
Big time.
Yeah,
Big
she had to
time.
cover up all the time because she like
well, I did because I didn't want anyone to see me
she's
losing
the head
weight
trainer
and
at World Gym.
getting shredded.
Yeah.
But you're doing the preparation at work.
I'm doing it all, and I remember
In the gym, yeah, she's
a girlfriend
lifting
of
in
mine
the gym.
coming up to me after when everything was done because then the cat was out of the bag because I was on a stage and everyone saw me. I couldn't keep it a secret anymore, and I remember a girlfriend of mine coming up to me in the gym a few weeks after that, saying, "Oh, thank God you just competed. I was worried about you. I thought you were sick because like my face was so like I was so gaunt and." But nobody knew I was competing, so she thought I was sick with like cancer or something, and I was losing all this massive amount of weight.
So,
Sorry,
Okay.
question. So, just explain, because we kind of talked about this before. What were the categories and what did you compete in? Because there's like bikini, then there's...
I was in figure. I competed in
so
figure
bikini
medium.
Is kind
No,
of like-
figure tall.
Is that like the first level is kind of bikini and then it goes figure?
Bikini figure bodybuilding, yeah.
And then bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And now,
back
is there,
then,
is there,
now,
is there
now,
more?
Now there's
there
a
are
million-
5 of them. There are
A
5.
million classes.
Yeah, okay. And so
So bikini,
that time, what was the
bikini I
difference
think they
between
went
the
by
categories?
height. And figure they went by height, but bodybuilding was by weight.
So, and I think what Troy's getting at though is like bikini. Explain what bikini had to do, the requirements, then what figure had to do, and then bodybuilders.
Oh, the
I think we know.
bikini. Oh, and there was fitness category too.
Okay.
So the bikini girls just had to look good in a bikini, but they had to do crazy poses and kind of like dance around and be wiggly on the stage. And then the fitness girls had to do a routine. Like you had to do one-armed push-ups and backflips and shit.
Okay, yeah.
Gymnastics stuff.
Gymnastics, yeah. And then the figure girls just went up in a posing suit and posed, much like the guys did. But then the bodybuilding girls were doing the same shit the guys were doing. Like they were wearing a posing suit and you had to hit certain poses. Like you had to do quarter turns. But the figure girls had to do that too. Like I had to do quarter turns, front, back.
This may be a little bit more dynamic.
But less muscle,
poses.
because if you looked like a bodybuilder and you competed in the figure, you'd lose points because you were too big. Like you had to have the right physique for figure.
Makes sense. Okay, yeah.
And then
So
you
I
were
wasn't
you
sure
were
about
graded
that.
on a point system.
Because now it just seems like there's tons of categories.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think there are about 6 on the women's side.
I want to keep going with where she's at and then where she's landed.
You know,
So
I
I think that's the interesting part.
So
of it.
so just before we leave this period, you guys have met, and at that time, obviously, you're lifting mini Hulk already, all that kind of stuff. What was the dynamic as you're preparing incognito? Like, what were you knew that Barb was getting ready, so you're helping her, and was this the first time that you were helping a competitor get ready?
I had been teaching some of the classes at Scheer's, their fitness classes there, and kind of I I was running Warren and Jose around. I don't know how much of their strength and conditioning I helped with, but when they had questions, I did. But it was more or less I was teaching there. And then I remember you came and said, do you want to help me train, right?
But Jay was not my trainer.
No.
Like,
No.
I was getting help with my nutrition from a coach,
Okay.
but I did my own training. I needed motivation, and that's what I asked him for.
She came and
Because
said,
at probably the midway point is when when you started, you're like, oh, I can do this. It's so easy. And then midway point, you're like, holy fuck, this is hard. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. I want to quit. And that's when I asked him to come in and help me, because I wasn't going to go to the gym and do my workouts anymore. Like,
there's more accountability.
I fucking didn't want to.
Yeah.
And then once you get past that phase, then you're like, woo, this is good again. And then you're excited because the show is coming.
Yeah.
But that midway point, I really struggled.
And then so that's how I ended up working there too. She was my boss. So she asked me, I was already working O'Shea's, Shears, and then she said, do you want to come and work at World? Because you've been...
Well, he was teaching boot camps for me.
And stuff. And I said, no,
I was
crazy?
his boss.
And then I ended up being a trainer and teaching boot camps there from March of 2012 until September. And that was awesome. It was like, I met some super cool people. But more importantly for that, I was her accountability person. And then the day of the trip and the competition. So just for entertainment purposes, I had met her in 2005 and like kind of had a crush on her, but she had a boyfriend. And then right when she split up with him, she came to O'Shea's. Like, she doesn't claim there was anything between her and me ever. It was just friends.
For those that don't know your background,
We're married.
No, I know that. But I'm saying you built O'Shea's, an Irish pub in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
So you're the owner with your brother, right?
Yeah.
And so...
And she was. I met her when she was bartending at one of the nightclubs, and I remember who she was. And then she would come in with a group of friends, and I was smitten. And then, but she broke up with this guy and came in and was like, I moved out. I remember saying, I'm like, moved out of what? And she's like, from my boyfriend. And then I was like, oh. And then we ended up going for dinner, and we were hanging out, and it was very. Actually, the first night we went out.
That was the first night Troy
you met her
there.
the first night. Me and her went for dinner together, and then
First night.
It was pretty platonic, and then she was cagey and kept me at bay, but she's like, come and help me work out. And then you're
missing the best part. We went out for dinner and he ordered a bottle of wine.
Oh, yeah,
and I was like, I'm not drinking that. I'm dieting. What are you talking about? And he drank the whole thing by himself.
I'm like, she'll drink some if I order it. And I had to drink the whole thing myself. It was Purple Cowboy.
So, I mean, so this is kind of a good way to get to the next phase, which is the two of you meet in a way through what this community is about, right? Like, there's a mutual connection of you're both athletic, you both pursue in your own way being fit, healthy, all that. And then so you guys connect, you help each other through that part, you compete, and then the competition is done, and then where do you go from there?
Palm Springs, naturally.
Oh, you're talking, this is about a relationship.
No, I'm
okay, when the show was over, that was April?
Yeah, but where do you go in terms of, okay, you've achieved that milestone.
Mm-hmm.
Where
what
do
was
you
your
go?
next phase?
Okay, so then I was like, this is so awesome, I'm going to do it again. And I wanted to compete again.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for real, and do it right. With, like, have a coach and a team and, like, be part of something. And go, I didn't do posing practice either. I did that shit all on my own, which probably was to my detriment. Go to the posing practice, like, do all the things that everybody did. I totally wanted to be in on that. But then Jay and I got engaged and we were going to be married in 9 months, and I didn't want to look like that in my wedding photos. So I didn't compete the next year, and then I just didn't do it again.
Which is not an uncommon story. Like
I just got away from it.
Yeah.
Like,
so
Well, you can only take yourself, I think, because it's like fighters. You can only take yourself so close to death so many times before it starts to make, like, why am I
okay,
doing
but
this?
that was not my experience. I know lots of women, it's like, oh my God, I really suffered to do this show.
Yeah.
That was not me. I had such a good time. Like, I have a question on my intake form with my clients that I have now. Think about a time where you felt your best. Like, when was that and why? And for me, it was 2012 because I was training for something. Like, I was only focused on me. I'd never done that before. Like, I was number one for 3 months. And I'd never done that before. Most women don't put themselves first. So that was incredible for me. minus that few weeks where I had no energy and I needed someone to help me get
But that's
through
what
my
I mean.
workouts.
Like
but that was the diet because there was so much protein and no
yeah. Not so much like
that's where I lacked energy. But then after that, I just was like, woo, this is the greatest thing.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it. I did, even though I was doing it in secret, I had some community because the people who did know that I was doing it were there for me. The show, like I kind of always had it in my head that when you get to the show, it's going to be a bunch of catty bitches because everybody's there being judged on how they look.
Yeah.
And it was not like that. Like everybody backstage was so supportive of each other and just loved each other, and it didn't matter if you were on the same team or you were competing against that person. Like everybody was so awesome. All the people backstage doing the tans and the oil and like all the stuff, it was so awesome. It was awesome. I had a really good experience, and that's why I wanted to do it again. Mm-hmm. Maybe some other girls would say that it sucked and it was really hard. And
I would just say, like, I was just thinking of just the dieting portion. Is that
no, I don't feel like I had a hard time with it.
With
so
the cutting and stuff.
Yeah,
like that. But
I've seen people have worse times.
There's people who have worse times than I did.
I'm not arguing with
but
you.
But
for your thing.
But so I'll vouch a little bit for what Barb's saying. When I did it when I was younger, it was the best I ever felt. Because I was doing it right with an extended period of time.
I was 35 when I did mine.
Yeah. So the you do it at the right time with the right nutrition. You can actually.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You can have it's not you're going to get tired.
Yeah.
But you have this incredible energy boost all the way through if you're doing it the right way. The one I just did recently, that was a totally different animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I was doing insane amounts of cardio at the time too. Which, if I would do a show again, I would do it differently. But I think waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, because I had to get 2 sessions in a day and work a job. So I had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go do cardio before I ate breakfast, go to work, do my thing, train, do my workout again in the afternoon. But that was cardio and weights. And then make sure I'm eating all my food and then go to bed at a decent hour because I'm exhausted now. But I think just the diet gave me a lot of energy, and the making me number one gave me a lot of energy, and getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning set the tone for the day, and that gave me a lot of energy. And I was like, woo, through that whole thing when I look back on it now. And a lot of the girls that I was competing against, like everyone talks about their cheat day, and so we can segue into that later, but cheat days, I don't agree with cheat days at all, 100% no. I didn't have a cheat day because of my regimen. Like I lost my banana, the only fruit I was allowed to eat, the first week because I didn't lose 2 pounds. And that was the goal. I lost my banana the first week, and I didn't have any sugar after that, and no cheat days because my body wasn't adjusting, and I couldn't have a cheat day. So all these other girls are like, oh, I can't wait for Saturday, I'm gonna eat chocolate cake. I didn't have that. For 3 months, I had no cheats. But that's, I think, what got me through it. Because I didn't have 1 day a week where I was bogged down and felt like shit, and then had to start over again. I didn't have that.
So let's pick this up because this gets into, like you talked about, like diet culture today, nutrition, and what you're doing. So you do this thing, you would have liked to got back to it. Life gets in the way, which is not uncommon for lots of different athletic things, whether it's I did the one fight or you did a couple fights and probably thought you'd go back and not. So you do this, you guys get together, life starts in a different direction. So then, do you stay with Worlds, or did you? So how do you go from there to kind of where you are now? Because that I want to make sure we have time. For
we're running out of time.
Where you are now.
To talk
so after the competition phase of my life, I thought I would do it again. I didn't go back to it, and then I started doing freelance training on my own again. Like I left the gym. That was a few years after that, after the competition. Left the gym, opened a practice in my home again. I'd done that before.
She was the head trainer at Good Life for a period as well.
Oh, I went to Good Life. Yeah, we don't need to talk about Good
Okay.
Life.
Okay.
That place is
Okay.
for your listeners.
Yeah.
So then I opened a studio at home, and I've kind of been doing that ever since.
Okay.
And then the nutrition, we talked about the diet culture and the clean eating, and that stuff wasn't working, I realized. And then my aha moment was with a client that I was training in my studio at home who was super sick. But he had been given a recommendation to come and see me because he was looking for a trainer.
He.
So my male client had a male friend who said, I need a trainer. And he was like, come see my girl. And that's how we got hooked up.
So just on this point, up to that stage in your whole training, what percentage of men had you been training?
Most of them were men.
Really?
Yeah.
So the whole time, even at Worlds and stuff, there were men?
Yeah.
No kidding. I
Well, because the girls go up to the classes. They have a fitness instructor, not a personal trainer.
A quick statistic, I'm not sure if I'll get, but her and a girl who were the head trainers at Okotoks were the two highest paid employees at went from World to
when I was at the head trainer at Motion. Yeah.
When she was the head trainer at Motion, they were two highest paid in the organization.
And at that time, they had 6 gyms.
And you were training men?
Yeah.
Mostly, yeah.
Wow. Okay, sorry.
And men from all over the place. Like, some were athletes, some were just businessmen, some were white collar, blue collar, whatever you want.
Okay.
Dads.
Okay.
So where was I with it? My aha moment. Okay, so I started training this guy who was super sick, but all he was looking for was a personal trainer. But I knew, like, he wasn't in a condition to be trained, is how sick this guy was. But he didn't know it. He was super malnourished, depressed, like, just all the things. And I started having a conversation with him about nutrition because I needed him to come to our sessions with some strength to do the training that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't even get him to do body weight squats because he was dizzy, because he was malnourished, because he only ate once a day, and that was at like 5:00, and our training sessions were at 3:30. So.
And what was it? It wasn't good food.
Well, he was eating takeout, Chinese, whatever. Yeah, it wasn't good food, and he only ate once a day, and I think he drank a little bit. He was single, like bachelor, lived alone. And so anyway, I started talking to him about nutrition because I knew he needed that first. Mm-hmm. And then that relationship ended because he hired me to be his trainer, not his nutritionist. And I was talking to him about nutrition, and I don't know if that pissed him off or what happened. Mm-hmm. Maybe we fired each other. Like, I didn't want to train him like that. I couldn't train him like that. And he didn't want me not staying in my lane, mm-hmm. so to speak. So that relationship ended after like 2 sessions. He didn't come back. But then I was like, oh my God, I've been doing this backwards the whole time. For 20 years, I was training people when they needed to fix their diet. So then I went back to school and I took a functional nutrition course, which taught me more about physiology than food. And that was the key to what I'm doing now. And I just noticed I'm tenting my fingers like Allison did. When she talked, she was like this.
But
so we one of the things I think is interesting. How much time do we have? I just want to so we can.
No, 15 minutes.
We're good.
Okay, so the thing that Barb's message is that not being able to turn. Well, I'll let her tell you, but I think we're always talking about not being able to turn it off, and we're on this podcast with like-minded people who get up in the morning and what can I get done today, what can I do, and that sort of thing. She's seen people with this mentality where it hasn't been a positive for them. Would that be a correct way to state? Why don't you tell us
like
about that?
with their training and the way they're
just they come to you. Well, so Barb works a lot with people. Who do you work with?
Well, right now my passion is working with people with autoimmune disease. Because the people that I've been working with for 20 years without me noticing were like sick. And diet culture, or just the exercise fitness culture, is teaching us that you have to go hard or go home no matter what. And like, to be healthy, you have to work out and eat right. And those messages are too boxed.
Extreme.
And extreme, yeah.
So what? I don't even know how scientifically describe this. Autoimmune deficiency disease, unhealthy.
Well, I say condition because I don't like people think like the word disease.
But
so autoimmune condition.
Yeah, but like what? For those that don't know, autoimmune is
what is autoimmune?
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you want names of diseases like lupus, colitis?
No,
Crohn's,
just layman's term.
When your immune system attacks itself, like your body is attacking itself.
People get like eczema and stuff like that. That would be.
Well, I don't know if eczema is autoimmune, but psoriasis is.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, but a lot of that is brought on by a lot of times people's poor diet or them consuming things that are negative for themselves, right?
The spiel that I always give is that autoimmune disease needs 3 legs to stand on. So if you have a stool with 3 legs, imagine that. One of the legs is genetic predisposition. The other leg is inflammation, and the other one is gut health, or the microbiome. And there has to be a perfect storm of all 3 of these to get autoimmune disease. So many people think, well, it's genetic. My dad had it. I'm destined for it. And that just is not true. That's not true. You can control if that switch gets turned on or off by taking care of yourself, your health, your gut, and underlying inflammation. Low-grade inflammation, we call it. Because the low grade is the stuff you don't really notice, but that you're doing to yourself, and then you wake up one day with an autoimmune disease.
Why don't you give some examples of clients you've had, nutrition clients that have come to you where not being able to turn it off has been the problem? Or
Many,
times have you seen
and they're
it?
mostly women. So just in my practice in the last 5 years, the one that is most common is over-exercising. So if they can't turn it off, and one example I can give you is a woman that I gave a care plan for who was very ill. I don't think she had an autoimmune disease. She just was really sick and had a lot of problems, and nobody could figure out what was wrong with her. She'd been to the doctors, the specialists, blah, blah, blah. She tried things on her own. Nothing was working. And then I sit down with her and I do my intake, and I'm trying to make connections. Like, I'm not trying to diagnose anybody. I just want to help them make connections and help them see, well, this is what you're doing and this is what's happening. Could it be this? What's the root cause? What's the underlying? Let's back it up. And so in my work with her, discovered that she was running 10K a day. So she was
Every
sick.
day.
She's not sleeping. She's dehydrated. She's malnourished, but continued to run 10K a day because in her mind, exercise is, like, you got to exercise to be healthy. So she's not going to give that up, no matter what. And then even just having a conversation where it was like, well, your nervous system is very taxed right now because you're overtraining. Do you think we could just scale that a little bit so that your body can heal? I wasn't asking her to quit. I just wanted her to scale it back. And she, like, her head exploded. No way.
So she couldn't turn it off, is what you're saying.
She couldn't
Maybe we should
turn it
have her
off.
on the no, I'm just kidding.
She
No,
couldn't turn it off.
but there's a nuance to this, because you're right. Like, there's, well, you're both framing it correctly. The mindset you can't turn it off can imply, like, you have to do physical activity. The mindset could be, from a coaching perspective, you're constantly thinking. Okay,
yeah.
so or it could be from a nutrition, whatever, right? So I mean, it that's the mindset. How it perpetuates is slightly different, maybe for different scenarios. But the people that go down this path of, like, it's a physical manifestation. Every day I've got to be physical. This is where they show up at your place. And the reason I find this interesting is, again, like, through the internet and Instagram, just coincidentally in the last month, the algorithm has been throwing me the so-called smart people, right? So you'd be one of these people, these experts on Instagram in the world, that are talking about this exact point, which is the idea that it's just physical activity at the top of the spear that drives your fitness, and you don't understand the recovery, you don't understand nutrition, is actually backwards. Because you get into these states of overtraining or injuries and central nervous system breakdown and all this, right? Like, if you don't understand the consequence of that stool, of, like, the physical, right? And then you get a mental in there and all these types of things. So I think you're right. Like, if you go back to when we all just talked about the 80s and 90s, like, it was literally just going to the activity. No one even talked about nutrition. No one talked about recovery. And then this is all...
Everyone was in a bulk phase.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right? So now...
McCain chocolate cake.
It was a non-stop bulk phase.
Do not-
What do you got there? 4 Happy Meals?
Yeah.
Homogenized milk or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is the point. So we're fast forward whatever 40 years, and so someone like you has arrived on the scene. These other people that are looking at it and saying, like, look, this, if you're really going to have a lifetime of athletic pursuit at the highest level until the wheels come off, you have to be thoughtful all the way through, because we've talked about on other podcasts that we'll push physically and we don't look after these other things, and
Well,
we get
you and I have particularly talked about you're sick or
we get
like, just to
injured.
give a quick example out, I have ulcerative colitis, and I 2 years ago I was riding, lifting. I'm like, I think I'll go back to jiu-jitsu, and then boom, I'm at jiu-jitsu and kickboxing for 7 hours a week, and my colitis is super well managed. Not when I do that.
Yeah.
And then she's picking up the pieces of parenting and everything while I'm sick, and so this is a real world example for her with me where that happened. But she sees patients that are like me all the time, and then so I have to think about the mentality. Like her and I don't know if listeners are thinking, it's like, I'm one of the original guys of can't turn it off. And then my wife is like, sometimes that's not the best for everyone all the time, right? Like,
well, and I mean, it's another conversation, but you could get into what was this woman running away from or to? Like, what was her trauma?
Exactly.
Running was a coping mechanism for her,
something.
for sure.
Yeah.
And when someone was asking her to scale that back or stop so that her body could heal, she just was like, well, what am I going to do then? Because she didn't know how else to cope with whatever it is she's running for. So that's a huge thing too. But if we're talking about not being able to turn it off, like I don't think I have that personality, except that now it just came to me. Maybe I do, because I think with my nutrition obsession, I think it affects my relationships with my friends.
Yeah.
Or people we like to socialize with.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a crazy person about don't bring this into my house, or like just don't eat that. I want to tell people, like, do you know what this is doing to you? Like, those seed oils are going to stay in your cells for 2 years. People don't want to hear that.
So, but this is why these conversations are so powerful. So, I know for me, I think they're awesome, because I think when you heard that we were doing this, and then you're like, this seems a little bit crazy, but you're actually, the mindset is the same. The way you've manifested this all the way through, and your passion and all this is your lifetime of athletic pursuit, and now you're sitting here and you're totally engaged in trying to help people, like through your own experiences. And I think that's the whole point. Like whether it's your approach or what you're doing in martial art. I mean, we've all got these different things, but the point is, it's a complex equation, right? There's a lot to it. But the one thing is, we all every day wake up and we all live by this, and we feel by it and figuring it out. But I think what you're talking about, the spot you're in, is probably the spot that, like, in a weird way, when I think of your career, you were doing things that were ahead of the curve 30 years ago. There aren't a lot of people doing what you're doing now. And so 30 years ago, people thought it was weird for a woman to be in weight training.
Maybe, yeah.
30 years later, it's not just women. There are guys on the internet that talk about what you're talking about, like trying to triangulate all these things. And I don't think that conversation gets a real listen to, because it's not like, just follow this, it's going to be, right? It requires thought. It requires people to do things.
There's a lot of troubleshooting.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, and not everybody's, like you said, like you probably think.
Well, troubleshooting, and it's very individual.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. Like, there's so many. Everyone's body is such a unique.
Yeah.
And
that wasn't the message before. Like, people are hearing that now, but like you were saying, back whenever 30 years ago, 20 years ago, that wasn't the message. Yeah. And everybody thought they all had to do that thing.
It used to be,
and it didn't work for everyone.
If he can do it, I can do it. And now you're looking at, just because he can do it doesn't mean I can do it. Like, the message has changed that way, or at least we're trying.
That's right? A huge thing with the fitness and diet culture between men and women. Like, I hear all the time, and you probably see it on socials too, where a woman is pissed off because her and her husband are doing the same diet and the same exercises, and he's losing weight and building muscle, and she's not moving the needle at all. Because she's trying to compare this workout routine and a diet to a body that has completely different hormones than her counterpart, and wants the same result. But nobody talks about it, so she's frustrated because she doesn't understand why she can't lose weight like her husband can.
And I'm sure you've seen the articles, but also Barb's talked about, they talk about cold plunges with men and women.
Well, so the optimization, we call that optimization, all the optimization tools that are trendy right now, like cold plunging and saunas and whatever the new thing is right now, aren't necessarily good for women, especially at a certain phase of their cycle. Yeah. So
menopause.
And and certain stages of life too. But because that's the new optimization trend that everybody's doing, these women are like, oh, well, Joe Rogan is cold plunging and getting all these results, I'm going to do it too. And then she gets sick. Yeah. Like, it's not, you can't compare men to women, and we've been doing that for way too long in fitness.
So, I want to go back to your point, because it ties to discovering what you're describing. Everyone's individual, right? That was your point, like right? Yeah. But you also acknowledge that, but then you have to be the individual that's self-reflective. So you have to be open-minded. and you're an open-minded person,
Well, most days.
for most part, right? No, but that's
Yeah, I think that really that's part of the thing I think that is unique, say, to this community, is I think everyone is fairly open-minded, but they're also very opinionated about what they feel, or they're, I should say, could you say passionate?
passionate,
Passionate, opinionated about,
Yeah.
like definitely you could get here by going this way, and this way to get there, or you could go straight there, or you can but like I said, we're all unique individuals and we all have to find that path. I think it's easier when you have somebody though that can kind of be like a little bit of a guiding light, because I think right now, because of so much social media, everyone is on a constant search for the person that they feel they can connect with in that social media space, and they're like, well, hypothetically, let's take Joe Grogan because he's most popular.
I like Liver King. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
No, but I mean, a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's that connection that all of a sudden people, like guys, basically in that probably 30, 40.
Our age.
Now,
range,
yeah. I'd like to be 30, 40 again.
Well,
but,
his age range.
Yeah,
is what I was saying.
but they kind of see that and they're using him as their guiding light because they feel they can connect to him because he's very down to earth, he's very humble, but then you'll have some of his guests. And then some people will be like, oh, no, I'm following Huberman. I'm following this person. I'm following this person. And it's like they preach that until maybe they find that it doesn't work. How many diet versions or
I would say, or to their detriment,
fads.
Because I like Huberman too. But if you're somebody who's uneducated in the field and you listen to Huberman, he's way too intense. Because a woman with an autoimmune condition who just wants to feel better doesn't need to do that micro stuff that Huberman talks about. At cellular level stuff is what he talks about, and stuff like that is way too overwhelming for somebody who just needs a change. You know what I mean? Huberman's a little bit over the top for me. I used to like him, but he's too much for me now.
So but there's so much, and for every person that you would say that would preach that Huberman has all his ducks in a row, you could find 5 other people that say Huberman's up his ass and don't follow.
He's very intelligent.
Don't
very
follow what he's doing though. But I've found there's lots of people that will be on the other side of things.
But there's a certain audience that is good for him.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like
I said,
extremists.
That's what I'm saying. But you got to find that niche, and everybody's grabbing these bubbles right now. I think. So and I'm guilty as anybody.
Yeah, I agree. But so on that point, then maybe tee up for Barb, her moment for the bubble, which is you for the next 15 minutes or so, explain how you would reach out, educate, connect with what your passion translates the way Huberman talks to his group or Rogan, okay? Jocko Willink and all these guys. So this is your moment now, because people will see this. What would you want to say to people that you're okay, I'm passionate about this is how I think things should be packaged to consider? Is it a women only message, or is it for both, or if you had 15 minutes now to just kind of tee up your passion?
Well, so for sure my passion is autoimmune. I promote myself as my niche market being women with autoimmune conditions, but I just like autoimmune, period.
Okay.
Why? I can tell you that. I think I first started working kind of in that realm when I had my aha moment with that guy that I told the story about, who only ended up being my client for 2 days. So I can't pinpoint exactly when, but he was the one where I was I need to get re-educated on nutrition and go back to school. And then while I was doing that course, I think it was 2 years or 3 years.
It was 3 years.
That 3-year functional nutrition course, during that time I learned that I liked autoimmune, and I was really attracted to it because of all the stuff I was learning. So the different modules of the program. When we got to the immune one, I was just super interested in it because I didn't know anything about the immune system prior to that. And then I started learning about the immune system and the endocrine system, and I just got bit by a bug. I just loved that stuff. And now I wish I'd gone to university and taken biology and chemistry and all these things. But too late. so then I started working with those people, and then that just became my passion, because these people were really, really broken by the time they would come to see me. Like, they'd been to the specialist, the doctor, they've tried all the things, you know, that Huberman or whoever is telling them that this is what you need to do, and it works for them until it doesn't. And no one is listening to them. They're doing the protocols and taking the medication
that they've been told to do.
And no one's listening to them. Like, I just imagine that these poor people walk into a doctor's office and the doctor looks at the chart and doesn't look at them or even talk to them. And so in my experience with this now in the last 5 years, that's exactly what happens, because they tell me that. Like, these women are ultimately just dismissed. It feels like the medical system is a conveyor belt, and it just, like, you go along and they just, but this is where this part needs to go, and they're not looking at the whole person. And the whole person is the key, because, like we were talking about before, everything is very individual, not with just exercise and diet, but everything. So I'm also talking to them about their sleep habits and how much water they're drinking. Do they get outside? And are you getting sunshine? And what's stressing you? Like, and it's a myriad of things that are affecting their health. It's not just exercise and diet. That's not where it ends. And so then I started working with these women, and they're very broken. And the fun part, if I can use that word in this, I mean, it's not fun working with very sick people because they're not having fun, but I love...
Inspiring.
I love working with these women because they're just looking for someone to listen to them and look at them like they're an individual, not a name on a piece of paper or even a patient number. I don't know how they do it. And to help them, like, I give them the tools, but they have to use it, right? But I'm showing them where they can make these connections, and they can see it and experience what they need to do. So I'm not telling them what to do, like all the other professionals, specialists, whatever. I'm showing them what to do. I'm showing them what to do, and they figure it out. So that's the work that I'm doing with them now. And the best part about it is they only need to make very small changes to see big results, because no one was showing them something so simple like just drink some water or get outside and breathe the fresh air. Or don't exercise too much and exacerbate your symptoms. Like, make sure you're sleeping. Ask for help. Accept help. Like, these are all things that we talk about in session. And it's really profound, the results that they get for doing very little in a short period of time. It doesn't have to be a long-term difficult thing, but I think that's what's in everyone's heads. If you want to make big changes, you have to work really hard and have motivation and all this shit that fitness and diet culture has taught people, and it's all backwards.
And you've referenced women, so this is, at this point, primarily women you're talking about? Okay. And any age bracket?
So most people, by the time they get a diagnosis, they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, right?
Okay.
Like, there's few 20-year-old,
Yeah,
anyone who have an autoimmune disease, like, you don't even have a diagnosis yet. Like, Jay didn't even get his diagnosis until he was 20. Which was very young, I think.
And but it's common to also not show until...
Yeah, and the statistics say that a person with an autoimmune condition is going to see 4 different doctors over 7 years before they get a diagnosis.
So the reason I'm asking is, could it be that, like you say, the system is broken, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas what you're describing, you wouldn't be against seeing someone in their 20s or 30s?
No, for sure not, no. Okay. It's just more common for people who've got a diagnosis to be older.
Then do they have to be autoimmune?
No.
Or are you taking people that...
Yeah.
Because I would imagine that some people maybe haven't even been diagnosed.
Yeah, that's right.
And they just want to, and you might discover that...
Well, my
through
hope,
working with them,
my hope
you know
is that if someone comes to me before a diagnosis, like they've got symptoms but they haven't been diagnosed, is that we can get them out of that hole before they even get a diagnosis, and then they won't have a diagnosis.
Yeah. Okay. Because that's what I was going to ask. Like, that was my primary thing. I was going to say, like, for people that are listening, they're like, oh, well, geez, sounds like she could be very helpful to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So even if you don't have that, I mean, just having that exposure, have that person sit down and do like a consult and do all that stuff would be...
Like, I'm working with a woman right now who has maybe lupus disease. So she hasn't been diagnosed with lupus, but she has all the symptoms, but there's no way to test for it. You can't test for lupus. There's no blood markers or anything. So she has all the symptoms, but they can't diagnose her because her labs are normal. And I think that's super common for women, especially like the ones I see. Doc says labs are normal, nothing's wrong with me. And they feel like shit. Like something's wrong. But the medical system has their ways of doing things, their standard of care, they call it, and it's not perfect.
So to Troy's point, could you have this conversation with someone that doesn't feel like shit, but thinks to themselves like, I don't feel like shit, but I don't really enjoy it.
I think I could be more optimal in my everyday.
I'd like
for sure, because we can look at their story. Their
current habits
and what is it that you want help with, and let's figure it out. Yeah. Even like I've worked with lots of women who don't come to me with autoimmune disease, but they want to lose weight. That's the theme of the day, right? And then when I do my intake and start working with them, find out, like, we have to find the why. So I don't focus on weight loss with anybody. We have to back it up and find out, why did you gain weight in the first place? And then work on that. And getting them balanced and healthy, weight loss will be a side effect. So I don't focus on weight loss with anybody, even if that's what they come to me with. Weight loss is a side effect of being healthy, of having balance and
making the body an efficient system, probably overall.
Well, letting your body perform the way it's meant to.
Yeah, exactly.
We just have too much fighting against nature.
And a lot of it's in what we're doing to ourselves because of the messages we're getting on that social media. And I really like something you said to me earlier when we talked about optimization. People trying to optimize with the little things before they
so that's like Huberman and the cold plunging and the saunas and all the things that are trendy. That's optimization. If you don't even have base, you can't optimize. Like, you can't be in a hole and try to aim for the stars. You got to just get yourself onto the ground, you know?
So the analogy, what is it? The one, don't bring someone fish, teach them how to fish.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what it sounds like this is really about, is the stuff that we all, like you said, on the social media. This is so advanced in a way and so niche, but a lot of those people have an understanding of the base elements already, and that's why they've gone down there. But for most people, they have no idea. They couldn't tell.
For most people, well, yeah, they have no idea because they're trying to do something that works for somebody else.
Exactly, but they don't even understand the math or the principles around just a broad sense of health. So they wouldn't even know how many calories in a gram of fat or like all those things that are just basic principles, or what is a source of protein and all this, and then you start to fan out the basics, like just that basic, and then you start to tailor it for the individual by understanding their why and what their story is. So you're the first person I think that we've kind of had on here that I think is like really cool in a way, because we're 16 episodes into this and we've talked a lot about like the action.
Is this the 16th episode or the 17th?
16.
Oh, 17 is my favorite number.
Okay, well we're close. But yeah, I mean, I think after this amount of time, there's a lot of discussion about the action that comes with a mindset of those that can't turn it off. But I think in order to be, like you say, optimized for an entire lifetime of this, we have to have this conversation with someone like you and other people that come in and say, like, look, it's fine to ride, chain, jiu-jitsu, do all these things that we do, and we're not oblivious to these elements, right? But they're not the first thing we think about.
No.
It is the first thing you think about. This is why you are a middle guard athlete, because you've been thinking about this for 30,000 hours. You live some of it physically, and now this is your thing. Like, you think about it. And in order to be like an optimized athlete in this community, you have to be thinking as much as you're doing. So I think it's awesome that you've come on at this time. I think it was the right time. And for people to find you. It's because we're just wrapping up here, but it's Flexappeal. How do they?
My
find
website.
You? Yeah, how do they find
SaskatoonNutritionist.ca. That's easy.
SaskatoonNutritionist.ca
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
And then, but you've got an Instagram too.
That one's at Flexappeal Functional Nutrition.
Okay.
But if you go to my website, you can book a free breakthrough call with me where we can talk on the phone for free and find out if I'm the right fit.
Do you talk about just anything?
On the breakthrough call?
Yeah.
Well,
Like
these
fashion
are
or-
no. Well, it depends.
So you're gonna have to say. You're gonna
I
have to
let
say.
the client lead.
Let the client lead because we're gonna have fist bumps to close it off. But that was awesome. Thanks, Barb.
Thank you.
And cheers, everybody, till the next one.